The crash and the whisper. The sky was dark and full of fire as the small human escape ship fell through the alien clouds. Lightning cracked like angry voices in the air. The pilot Ray was losing control. His hands were shaking, but he kept trying to steer. The system lights blinked. Red warning sounds filled the cabin. He could hear his heart pounding louder than the alarms. Ray knew he had only one chance to survive. He looked out the window. Below him was a jungle full of tall black trees and strange glowing plants. No sign of help, no signal, no way to call his team. The ship hit the ground. Hard metal screamed. Glass shattered. Everything went black. Time passed, but Ray did not know how long. When he opened his eyes, he felt pain everywhere. His leg was twisted. Blood covered his arm. The smell of smoke was in the air. He could not move. His helmet was cracked. The radio was silent. He blinked again. Shapes moved in the shadows. Leaves rustled. He reached for his sidearm, but his hand was weak. He heard a voice, soft, strange, not human. You are hurt. Let me help you. Ray's eyes opened wide. He saw a figure, tall, thin skin like silver mixed with blue. Eyes large and glowing, hair like white mist flowing in the air. It was a woman, not human, an alien, but not like any enemy he had seen before. She stood far at first, watching him, her body shaking slightly. She looked scared, but still she stepped closer. Her hands glowed with soft green light, healing light. Alien tech maybe, or magic. Ray tried to sit up, but pain shot through his side. He grunted and almost passed out again. The woman stepped back, then stopped, then slowly came forward again. Her voice was gentle. You are not safe here. I can hide you. Ray looked at her, confused. Why help me? He was human. They were at war. Aliens feared humans, hated them still. She knelt beside him. She touched his shoulder, her fingers warm. He felt something strange, a kind of calm, like the pain was pulling back just a little, enough to think. He asked her name. She did not answer. Instead, she looked around, her ears twitching at every sound. Then she said something quiet. I do not trust anyone, but I will not watch another die. She pulled him slowly out of the wreck. Step by step, she dragged him through the jungle. Strange glowing flowers moved as they passed. Birds with no feathers watched from the trees. The wind carried whispers that were not wind at all. Ray tried to remember his training. Never trust an unknown alien, always signal for rescue. But his tools were broken. His body was broken. Only she moved. After some time they reached a cave hidden behind a waterfall. Inside it was dry and warm. Glowing stones on the walls gave light. There were strange plants in jars and machines that hummed softly. She laid him down on soft moss, then began cleaning his wounds using small devices that floated in the air. Ray watched in silence. She worked carefully. Her hands still shook. He asked again, why are you doing this? Still, she said nothing. Only a whisper came from her lips. You look like him. Ray did not understand, but he felt her sadness. It filled the air like a heavy fog, a pain deeper than any wound. She stayed quiet after that, working until his wounds were covered. His leg was tied, his breathing better, the pain less sharp. Then she moved back, sat in a corner of the cave, watching him like she expected him to attack her or leave or die. Ray closed his eyes, but he could not sleep. So many questions, so much fear, but also something else. A feeling he could not name. In the dark, the jungle made strange sounds, but in the cave he felt safe for now. Then he heard it again from deep in the jungle. A sound not natural, not wind, not animal. But something hunting. The alien woman looked toward the cave entrance, her body stiff, eyes glowing brighter. She whispered, they are coming. The cave of secrets. Morning never came in the jungle because the thick sky stayed dark and the clouds moved like smoke from a dying fire. Inside the cave, Ray opened his eyes slowly and saw the glowing rocks still shining on the walls like quiet stars. His body ached, but he could feel that something was different. The pain had changed. It was not gone, but it no longer screamed through his nerves. He tried to sit up and a sharp sting made him stop. Then he saw her again, the alien woman. She sat near the cave entrance with her arms around her knees. Her eyes were open, but she did not move. She looked like a statue carved from fear and silence. Ray whispered a word, hello. She turned her head slowly, her face calm, but her eyes heavy with something, not sadness, not anger, maybe something older than both. She stood and walked to him, her steps slow, like each step was a choice. Her hand reached for a small bowl with green liquid. She held it out to him without speaking. Ray looked at the bowl and then at her. He took it with shaking hands and drank. The taste was strange, but not bad, warm like sunlight behind a cold window. What is this? He asked. She did not Answer instead. She sat down again, this time closer, but not too close. Ray looked around the cave. The walls were smooth and curved like waves. Shelves were carved into the stone, holding jars with strange roots and glowing stones. One corner had metal parts and floating tools, another had thick leaves folded like blankets. "This is your home," Ray said. She nodded slowly. "Why help me?" He asked again. This time she spoke. "Because I remember what it means to care, even when it hurts, even when it is dangerous." Ray watched her face. She spoke with control, but her hands kept moving, touching her arms, her hair, her chest, like she was checking if she was still real. He asked her name. She paused, then answered in a soft voice. Selah repeated it. Selah. It felt strange, but not wrong. Ray leaned back and looked at the ceiling of the cave. He asked her why she lived here. Alone, hiding. She did not answer right away. Instead, she walked to a glowing stone and touched it. The light grew brighter, then shapes appeared on the wall like memories made from fire and mist. Ray saw a younger version of her, smiling, standing beside another alien. Taller, strong, holding her hand. "That was him," she said. "He was my mate. He believed peace was possible. He thought we could live without fear, without war." "But war came." Ray said. "Yes." She said. "He tried to protect a human child during the raid. His own commander killed him. Called him a traitor." Sighed. "His kindness was a weakness." Ray listened without speaking. The story burned through the air, hot and full of old wounds. "I ran," she said. "I could not fight. I could not go home. I came here and stayed for years." Ray felt something in his chest. A weight, not guilt, not pity, but something close to both. "I lost someone too," he said. "My brother, he died." In the second wave, she looked at him for the first time, really looked like she saw more than his face. They sat in silence for a while. Only the soft hum of the glowing rocks filled the cave. Then a sound broke the quiet, a soft static from the edge of the cave. Ray turned. His broken radio was glowing faintly, crackling with a weak signal. He reached for it, but before he could touch it, Selah grabbed his hand. "No," she whispered. Ray looked at her. "Why?" She shook her head. "That signal, it is not rescue. It is not your team. They are searching for something else or someone else." "Who?" Ray asked. Selah stood and moved to the entrance of the cave. She lifted a small device and pointed it at the jungle. A screen lit up, showing a shape moving through the tree stall. "Metal, silent, a hunter," she said. "Not from your side, not from mine." Ray stared at the screen. The shape moved like a shadow, slow but certain. "Why is it here?" he asked. Selah closed the device and looked at him. "Because you are here, because I helped you, because kindness is still feared in this world." Ray felt cold. Even inside the warm cave, he knew that thing was coming for him, but it might come for her too. He looked at her and asked, "Can we run?" "No," she said, "but we can hide better, and if we cannot hide, then we must be ready." Ray closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "Stronger, teach me," he said. She looked at him surprised. "You will not run?" "No," he said. "Not without you." She gave a small nod, then turned back into the cave, her hands moving quickly, her tools rising, the green light glowing once more outside. The jungle moved, alive, hungry, waiting. Ghosts of the past night returned without warning, and the cave felt smaller than before. The jungle outside whispered like a living thing. Every leaf, every branch, every breath felt like it could be the last. Ray sat near the glowing wall with his back resting against the stone. His legs still weak, but the pain now quieter, like a song far away. He watched the floating lights drift across the ceiling like stars underwater. Selah moved in the shadows like a ghost, quiet and careful. Her hands arranged bottles and leaves with purpose, but her eyes stayed far away, like they were seeing another time, another life. Ray waited for her to speak, but the silence stretched long, heavy, alive. He finally asked her why she was really hiding in this cave, not from the war, not from the world, but from herself. Selah stopped moving. Her fingers trembled as she held a tiny jar of blue dust. She sat down across from him and placed the jar beside Harry. "Told you part of the truth," she said, "but not all." Ray nodded slowly. He could feel the weight of her words before she even spoke them. "He was not just my mate," she said. "He was the last healer of the high path. He was my teacher, my partner, my light." Ray leaned forward as the glow of the stones shifted, throwing long shadows on the cave walls. "They said we were weak," Selah whispered. "Because we healed, because we forgave, because we looked at humans and did not see monsters." Ray looked at her, his throat dry. "And what happened? They made us choose," she said. "Fight or fall, hate or die." He chose to save a child, a human girl trapped in the fire. He used his last energy to cover her with his own shield, and when our commander arrived, he found us together, the girl alive, my mate dying." Ray closed his eyes for a moment. He could almost see it, A battlefield lit by burning ships, a man reaching through the smoke. Choosing compassion over orders, they erased his name. Selah said, called him a traitor, sighed, I was infected by human sickness, I escaped, but not without wounds. She lifted her sleeve and showed scars not just from weapons, but from punishment, from betrayal. From silence, Ray looked down at his hands, rough from war, stained by choices. I used to think all aliens wanted us dead, he said, but I was wrong. So wrong. Selah tilted her head, her voice soft. Why did you become a soldier? Ray stared at the glowing stones. For a long time before speaking, I wanted to protect my brother. He was smart, kind, he believed in peace, but he signed up when Earth was attacked. I followed him and now has gone. Ray said, killed in the first weak shot while trying to surrender. Selah reached forward slowly, her fingers brushed his arm. A light touch, but full of meaning. Maybe we are both running from ghosts. Ray gave a small smile, but it faded quickly as the static crackled again, this time louder, clearer. He crawled toward the broken radio. It sparked with blue light. Words tried to form, but only fragments came through. Repeat, human life sign detected, moving signal. Ray turned to Selah. Someone is tracking the signal, maybe human, maybe not. She stood and opened her device again. The screen showed a new shape, closer, now larger, mechanical limbs moving with purpose. A hunter, not like the last one. Stronger, faster. Selah spoke quickly. This one is different. It smells energy. It hunts warm blood. It remembers faces. Ray reached for a tool beside him. Can we stop it? She looked at him, uncertain. We might confuse it, or we might die trying. Ray met her eyes. Not running, not this time. Selah nodded once, then turned and walked deeper into the cave. She pulled aside a cloth and revealed a wall of old equipment, part healer tools, part weapons, dusty, but still alive with quiet power. Ray limped over and placed his hand on one of the devices. It pulsed beneath his palm. Teach me, he said. Selah looked at him again, her face unreadable. You want to fight, you want to protect, you want to understand. Yes, Ray said. Then listen, she said. She began to show him the controls, how to direct energy, how to use light as shield, how to bend sound into confusion. Hours passed like minutes, and when the jungle screamed again, they were ready. The screen blinked. The hunter, now close, very close. Ray held the tool in his hand, not sure if it would work, but sure he would use it anyway. Selah stepped beside him, her scars shining like silver in the cave light. If we fall, we fall together. Ray nodded. Once together, and the cave waited in silence as footsteps echoed in the jungle once more. The hunter and the hunted. The cave held its breath as the jungle roared again, not with wind, not with life, but with something colder, stronger. A sound made of metal grinding against stone, a sound that did not belong to nature. Ray stood near the entrance with the alien tool in his hand, his breath slow, his body tense beside him. Selah moved like a shadow with silent steps and sharp eyes. She carried a staff glowing faint green. It hummed with energy from a time older than war. The screen lit up again. The hunter was near, less than 100 steps, moving without pause, drawn by heat, drawn by life, drawn by betrayal. Ray looked outside the cave. The jungle was dark but full of motion, branches bending, leaves trembling. The very earth seemed to step aside as the hunter passed. What does it want? Ray whispered. Selah answered without looking at him. It wants silence. It wants no survivors. It wants no stories to remain. They stepped back into the cave, Ray limping slightly but not falling. Selah guiding him toward a hidden door near the back wall. She pressed her hand to the stone. It opened like a mouth holding secrets. They entered a narrow tunnel, walls marked with ancient symbols, lights flickering from roots that pulsed with life. This was once a sanctuary, Selah said, before it became a grave. Ray followed without question. He could feel the fear in the walls, memories trapped in stone, cries from long ago still echoing. The tunnel opened into a second chamber, wider, darker. The floor covered in dust and broken metal. Old devices lay scattered, long dead, but still watching. We fight here, Selah said. Ray looked at her. Why not escape? Because this place remembers, because it is ready to help again, because it is the only ground that still stands with us. They began their work without words. Selah moved quickly, placing crystals near the entrance, drawing patterns on the floor, humming a tune that did not belong to anyone. Voice. Ray placed traps using human logic and alien design, sharp bursts of light hidden beneath rocks, nets made of sound, walls that looked empty but weighted with anger. The hunter arrived as the last trap was set. It stepped into the cave like it owned every shadow, its body tall and wide, legs like pillars, arms like swords. eyes burning with red fire. It saw nothing at first, only heat, only breath, only movement. Through the first flare, a flash of white. The hunter paused, confused for 1 second. That was Inusila activated the first net. Sound exploded, not noise, but confusion, like a scream folded inside a whisper. The hunter staggered, its balance broken. It turned, lashing out with metal claws. The walls cracked, stones flew. Ray ducked behind a pillar, his hand shaking, but his mind clear. He aimed the alien tool at the hunter's chest. Fire day bolt of green light hit the armor, smoke rose. The hunter turned toward him, unharmed, but now angry. It charged the ground, shook the traps, fired again, one by one, light, sound, heat. Everything they had still. The hunter Kamisela stepped into its path, her staff glowing like a small sun. She raised it high, spoke words in her lost language, then struck. The floor, the chamber answered. The floor split open, energy surged. The hunter was lifted, thrown back, slammed into the wall for a moment. It did not move. Ray ran to Selah. Are you hurt? She shook her head, eyes still glowing, but her breath uneven. We are not done. The hunter rose again, sparks flying, half its face gone, but its eyes still burning. Ray stood tall, no more hiding. He stepped forward, the tool humming in his handy aim. Not afraid, he said. The hunter swung. Ray jumped aside, fell, rolled, fired again. Beam hit the eye, cracked it. Darkness spilled. Selah joined him together. They circled it, moved like one last strike, one final blast. Both weapons fired at once. Light swallowed the chamber. When it cleared, the hunter was still a shell without breath. They stood in silence, sweat on their faces, blood on the floor. Ray fell to his knees, not from pain, but from release. It is over, he whispered. Selah helped him up. Not yet, she said. They will come again. Others will follow. Then we prepare again, Ray said, and we fight again. She looked at him, not as a human, but as something more. You would stay, yes, even if it means death. Yes, she nodded once. A slow, powerful nod. Then we begin again, together, and in the silence that followed, the chamber no longer felt like a grave. It felt like a promise. Trust and fire. Smoke floated through the broken air like lost memories looking for a way back. The hunter's remains still sparked on the ground, but no longer moved. The fight was over, but the silence that followed felt sharp, like a blade waiting for its next command. Ray sat near the wall with one hand on his side. He breathed slow, not from pain, but from something deeper. The kind of quiet that comes only after fire has passed. Selah walked to the center of the chamber. With careful steps, she looked at the burned ground, the cracked stone, the shattered light. This place had taken damage, but it had also fought with them. It had not let them fall alone. Ray watched her move, each step full of purpose, each breath steady. Like someone who had lived through too many storms, she knelt beside the remains of her staff. It was broken now, the core still glowing, but the frame twisted. She picked it up with both hands, looked at it for a long time, then turned to Ray. This was not just a weapon, she said. It was a gift from my teacher. He gave it to me the day I chose to heal instead of destroy. Ray looked at her and spoke without thinking. Maybe it broke because you did both. Selah did not smile, but something softened in her eyes. Ray stood slowly, his body sore, but his mind clear. He looked around the chamber. The damage told a story, one of fear, one of resistance, one of survival. He walked to a panel on the wall, touched it. Lights flickered to life, old systems waking from long sleep. A screen blinked, maps, energy signals, unknown symbols mixed with human code. What is this place? Ray asked. Selah joined him. It was a sanctuary, then a research center, then a prison. Now it is ours. Ray tapped one of the signals. It showed movement. Not far, not friendly. We have maybe 2 days, maybe less. They are coming again, bigger, stronger, faster. We cannot stay, but we cannot run, Selah said. Then we fight again. Ray replied, no, not like before. We must be smarter. She turned to the wall, pressed her hand against a set of carvings. A hidden panel opened. Inside were pieces of alien tech, crystals, wires, blades, unknown tools. Ray stepped closer. This is not for healing, he said. No, Selah replied. This is for surviving when healing is no longer enough. They worked through the night. Ray learned how to shape energy, how to build walls that could bend light, how to trap heat and sound like animals in a Kagazela. Learned how humans think in battle, how they move without pattern, how they trust even when afraid. They laughed once, only once, when Ray tried to speak her language and said something that meant sleeping rock instead of hidden shield. She did not laugh often, but when she did, it felt like the jungle stopped to listen. They built armor from light weapons, from memory traps, from pain. Everything had meaning. Nothing was wasted. As the second sun of the planet began to rise, The chamber was ready again, but they were not just ready to fight, they were ready to stand. Ray sat with Selah near the entrance. They ate simple food, dried roots, filtered water. Nothing sweet, but nothing bitter. He looked at her and asked, what happens if they lose? She looked back and answered with a voice full of old fire, then someone will remember we stood and someone else will stand where we fall. Ray nodded. That was enough. The signal blinked again. The enemy was closer now, but this time they had a plan A. Map. A reason. They moved outside to scout the jungle. Ray saw trees with eyes, vines that listened. Even the wind felt like it had learned his name. He stepped too close to a nest and fell. Selah caught him before he hit the ground, her hands warm, strong. Be careful, she said. This world does not love us, but maybe it respects us now. Ray replied. She said nothing, but her grip did not loosen right away. That night they slept near the fire, one small flame against a world of shadow. Ray woke in the middle of the night. The stars above looked wrong. One of them moved fast, bright. He tapped Selah's shoulder. She opened her eyes at once. Look, a ship descending, silent, not human, not hers. New. They watched as it touched down beyond the ridge, its surface black like it drank light. Selah stood slowly, her voice calm but tight. They are not here for peace. Ray stood beside her, his hands already moving to wake the traps. Then we show them what we learned, he said. She looked at him, no longer afraid, only ready, and the fire behind her eyes told him they would not go quietly, not this time. The escape plan. The sky above the jungle turned silver as the new ship hovered like a silent god. It made no noise, it made no shadow, but the air bent around it like space itself was afraid to touch its surface. Ray and Selah watched from the edge of the cliff, their bodies still, their minds racing. That is not one of ours. Ray whispered. Not one of mine either. Selah replied. Then who sent it? Why now? Why here? They moved back into the jungle, leaves brushing against their faces like nervous hands. Every tree seemed to shiver, every root seemed to pull away. They reached the chamber again. The walls still warm from the last fight, the machines waiting, the lights blinking slowly like the heartbeat of something alive and tired. Ray pulled out the signal device. It still glowed, still sent its message, but now it was louder, stronger too strong. Someone boosted it. Not from here, not from this cave. He looked at Selah. Did you do this? She shook her head. No, but I know what it means. Someone out there wants us found, but not saved. Ray stepped back, his mind spinning. Then who are they calling? She looked toward the sky. Not a rescue, a collection. They want us captured, not helped. Ray paced the floor. We need to leave. We cannot fight that ship, not with what we have. She nodded. There is an old path hidden below the ridge. A tunnel once used by my people during the first wave of war. It leads to a forgotten outpost. Can it still work? Only one way to know. They packed what they could: energy cells, healing pods, a map drawn from memory, and hope. The path began under the water, a stream that flowed into a small cave. Ray stepped into the cold, his breath sharp, his skin alert. Selah followed, her hands glowing just enough to light the way. The walls of the tunnel were rough, but strong, built from stone that remembered every footstep. They walked for hours, no sound except water and breath and the quiet hum of the past. Ray asked her if she had ever used this tunnel before. No, she said, only heard stories, tales told by those who vanished into it and never came back. Comforting, Ray replied with a weak smile. She touched his shoulder gently. We are not them. The tunnel opened into a large chamber. High ceiling, broken equipment, screens covered in dust, old lights still flickering like tired stars. This was once a command room. Now it was a grave without names. Ray activated a panel. Power surged. The screen blinked. A signal went out, short, clear. One word: alive. He turned to Selah. Now we wait or we run, she said. If they find us first. He looked at her face, eyes calm, voice steady, but hands shaking just slightly. She feared this more than any hunter, not because of death, but because of the past, because this place was full of what she lost. A sound broke the silence, not mechanical, not natural. A voice. Ray, is that you? He froze. The screen crackled, then cleared. A face appeared, human, familiar. His commander. A, we tracked your signal. You are alive. Where are you? Ray looked at Selah. She watched him, said nothing. He turned back to the screen. I am safe, but I am not alone. What do you mean? Who is with you? Someone who saved me, someone who is not the enemy. There was silence on the other side. Then the voice returned. Ray, do not trust it. Whatever it is, bring it in or step away. She has a name, Ray said. Her name is Selah. The screen went dark for a moment. Then new words appeared. Stay where you are. Extraction team inbound. Ray backed away. They are not here to help. He turned To Selah need to go too late, she said. The roof above them shook, dust fell, the air changed. A ship was landing above the chamber. Ray grabbed her hand. Ran toward the far exit. We cannot outrun them, she said. Then we outsmart them. He activated the map, found an alternate route, a tunnel flooded but still open. They ran. Water rising to their knees, their breath sharp. The tunnel shrinking behind them, voices echoed metal on stone. Orders in human language. Ray stopped and turned. Go, he said to her. No, she replied. Not again. They moved as one through water, through dark. The exit opened ahead, a door half buried. A light blinking slowly. Ray touched the panel. Nothing. He hit it again. Still nothing. Selah stepped forward, placed her hand against it, spoke one word in her language. The door opened, light spilled and bright, clean, new. They stepped into a different world. An old transport room, still alive, still waiting. Ray saw the control console. Powered by crystal. Can we fly this? He asked. Maybe, if it remembers how she sat at the controls, her fingers moving like memory was enough. The engine coughed, then roared above them. The human ship sent a signal. Ray. Final warning. He did not answer. The old ship rose, fire around it, heat in every breath. Selah looked at him. Are you ready? Ray nodded. Always. And they flew into the sky, chased by ghosts but driven by choice, hope or war. The sky burned gold as the old ship cut through the clouds like a blade of forgotten memory. Engines roared with age, but power surged like it still remembered its purpose. Ray stood beside Selah, watching the controls flicker with strange lights and fading strength. His heart beat faster with each passing mile, not from fear, not from doubt, but from the weight of what they carried. Selah focused on the console, her hands steady, her eyes bright, her voice low as she whispered to the ship like it was alive and listening. They passed over broken valleys and silent ruins, once cities, now echoes. The land below held scars that never healed, but still waited for someone to see them again. Ray checked the radar, 2 signals behind. One human, one unknown, both closing fast. They will catch us, he said. Not if we find the station first. Selah replied. What station? One my people abandoned long ago, before the war took everything, before silence replaced choice. Ray looked ahead. A mountain rose like a sleeping god beneath the clouds. Near its peak a structure blinked, faint light, faint hope. That is it, she said. They guided the ship toward it. Wind pulled at the wings, engines coughed, warnings flashed. Hold on, Selah whispered. The ship landed hard, dust exploded, wings cracked. The hull groaned, but they were still alive. Ray opened the hatch. Fresh air rushed in, thin, cold, free. They stepped onto the landing pad. The station before them, tall and silent, covered in vines, wounded but not dead. Selah led him to the entrance. A panel waited, rusty but glowing. She placed her hand on it. The door opened like it had waited just for her. Inside, the station lights flickered, systems stirred, old machines blinked awake like dreams, remembering their shapes. Ray saw human symbols on the walls, signs of old cooperation. This place was once shared. Before the war, before fear. They reached the control room. Screens lit up, messages scrolled in both languages. Ray sent a signal. Open channel, human command. This is Sergeant Ray Nolan. I am alive. And I am not alone. The reply came fast. Ray, you are ordered to hold position. We are near. Do not engage with the alien. Ray turned to Selah. She stared at the screen with quiet eyes. What now? She asked. We wait, he said. But we do not wait. On our knees outside the station, engines roared. A human ship landed near the pad. Soldiers stepped out, weapons ready, eyes cold. Ray walked out with hands raised. Selah followed, her staff broken, her back straight. A voice called out, step away from the alien. No, Ray said, you are disobeying direct orders. I am obeying something older. The commander stepped forward, helmet off, eyes sharp. Explain yourself. Ray spoke clear. This woman saved me. She risked everything. She fought by my side. She healed me. She protected me. And I will not let you treat her like a threat. She is a traitor. The commander said so. Am I then? Ray answered. Silence. The soldiers shifted. One raised his weapon, another lowered it. Selah stood without fear, her face calm. She looked at the commander. I do not ask to be trusted, only seen. Ray stepped in front of her. If you shoot her, you shoot me too. A long pause followed, heavy like stone. The commander looked at them, then at the soldier. Slower. Your weapons? What? One soldier asked. Now guns dropped slowly. The jungle seemed to exhale. The commander looked at Ray. This will not be easy to explain. Then tell the truth, Ray said. Tell them we chose something better. He turned to Selah. You are not alone anymore. She looked at him, not with surprise, but with something deeper, a quiet trust. The station behind them powered fully, lights steady, screens alive. It was ready to serve again, not as a place of fear, but as a bridge. The commander spoke again. We can take you both back. There will be questions, tests, politics. We will answer them. Ray said together. Sayla added, they entered the ship not as prisoner and soldier, but as two survivors, as proof that even in the ashes of war, something new can still be born. As the ship lifted into the sky, the mountain faded behind them, the jungle below, still wild, still waiting. But now, hope flew above it, and this time no one flew alone.